Primo's Hunting. Stream the language.
Hey folks, Troy Ruiz here from Primo's Hunting. Let's go through a real quick little scenario and see how everybody feels about the answer to this scenario, because I don't think there's actually a right or wrong answer. But let's say it's mid-morning, 9:30, somewhere around that world. You've been on a gobbler since daylight. He gobbled about 4 or 5 times in a tree, flew down, probably gobbled once or twice on the ground, answered you once or twice, and then about 15 or 20 minutes into your hunt, you think you heard a turkey fly down, but you didn't hear any yelps or any hens, and you thought you had this turkey. And then he just shuts up. The question is, what do you do next? Or the two questions are, what do you do next? And should I get up and go to him? Well, if he shut up and you gave him, say, 15 or 20 minutes, and he never answered anything that morning, do you try to yelp at him? How loud do you yelp at him? Well, in that scenario, if it was me, and I hadn't heard him for, say, 15 or 20 minutes, and I knew he was a good 150 to 200 yards from my setup, the first thing I would do is probably try to cluck at him. Just a simple cluck. Now, I would do it with a mouth call because that's my go-to call, but for those of you out there that probably can't do a mouth call or can't blow a mouth call, I would be extremely careful on moving and going for a slate call. Most of us as turkey hunters would have all that stuff all around us and already ready. So I would make sure of my surroundings, look around and reach for that call, or just go ahead and do a simple cluck, just one cluck, just like this. And listen for about a minute. If you don't hear anything, cluck and a small yelp again, almost like a tree yelp. And listen, if he don't gobble, that doesn't mean he's not close, because the next thing you might hear is him drumming. For those of you that have, it still blows my mind today how many people have been turkey hunting and have never heard a turkey drum. It's one of the most incredible sounds you ever hear, and it's probably the hardest sound to focus on where it's coming from. If you hear drumming, he's usually close, especially if you hunt in the Midwest where the air's a little bit thinner. Here in the South, it could be tough to hear him, but they're usually close. But listen for the drumming. That's the first two things I would do. I would cluck and then maybe yelp at him a couple of times and give him that opportunity to let me know he's close, whether he gobbles and or he drums, wherever he is. If he doesn't answer that, I'm gonna step it up just a little bit. I'm gonna give him a little bit more louder yelp. If he answers that and he's still in the same place, chances are he's not coming. If he don't answer it and you don't hear him drumming or gobbling off in the distance, my suggestion is get up and move about 50 yards. Some people like to move in 100-yard increments. I like to move in 50-yard increments, depending on the terrain. If I'm in a big hardwood timber bottom, I'm going from tree to tree. I actually look through the woods and pinpoint how I'm going to travel. That way I can keep a tree between me and where I think that turkey was where I heard him last. Because chances are he may have flown down right into his strut zone. Again, it's still about patience, but sometimes we have to go to the turkey because that's what you're supposed to do. Go about 50 yards and do that same scenario again. A cluck, wait a little bit. Another cluck, wait a little bit. If you don't hear anything, give it a cluck and some soft yelping. If you don't hear anything, a little bit louder yelping, and move on. If you don't hear anything by moving about 2 times and you think you should be where that turkey is, I would go after my locator calls. Go for the crow call or try the owl hooter. I'll be honest with you, one of the best locator calls I've ever used, it was in Ohio, and I was hunting with a buddy of mine, and he carried a goose call with him. And it made turkeys gobble as far as you can hear. And the reason he does that is he was hunting close to a golf course. And this golf course was loaded with geese. And that was his locator call. If a goose sounded off there, that's what he used to locate his turkey. So try to find that turkey with one of your locator calls, because if he'll start answering the locator call, that'll give you an opportunity to move in closer without letting him know you're a hen in the woods. You gotta find them to be able to hunt them, but just be patient.